maybe 2 would be nice,
Hey,
but
if
then
you lose 8 kilos, that's
I'll take it.
You're going to vanish.
I'll take it. I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
But
do it for you.
But
Thanks.
sometimes we have a desire, but desire must be followed up with action.
Right.
And we have to be realistic with ourselves. Are we actually setting goals that we do want to follow up, or it's just nice to say it, nice to have it?
Yeah.
Right. And why the resolutions always remain the same every year? It's because we didn't take the action that will help us to follow through. Right. And so one thing why they fail is because we're not taking the actions, or perhaps we're not just being honest with ourselves
About
the resolutions that we've set.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, I was saying, like, I have more than 8 kilograms that I need to lose.
Right.
I'll take,
I'll take those 8. Yeah.
yeah, right. I'll lose those for you. If it's on anyone's resolution, I'll do it for you. But what you just mentioned here, I think it really leads into the next question that I want to ask you. What should we take note of, when we make a New Year's resolution in the first place? And you've already pointed out we need to first of all be honest with ourselves about the goal that we set, about the resolution that we set. So any other tips to that about how we can approach even setting that resolution?
Yeah, I mean, there's this great book by James Clear called Atomic Habits, and it's a book that I kind of go back to every year at this time of the year, or rather a bit like last year. And he says that we need to set identity-based goals. So instead of saying I want to lose X kilos, I want to be the kind of person who is healthy. And then we start to determine, well, what does that look like? What actions does the healthy person actually take? Right? So for example, for me, if I were to just say I want to lose 2 kilo, then my mind is fixated only on that number.
Yeah.
But instead we need to translate it into an identity. I want to be the person who is healthy, and a healthy person would probably work out 3 times a week. A healthy person wants to eat healthy and choose healthy, right? As opposed to like, I just need to look at that number.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it sounds like you don't want to set yourself something specific, am I right? And then is that something a bit more broad-based, or have I got...
It can be specific,
Okay.
but you need to understand, is that really you? Which is why I said let's be honest to ourselves, right? And if you don't believe actually in being healthy, then that goal is just going to fall to smithereens. Like, I want to lose 2 kilo, but I'm eating potato chips every night. Right, it happens to a lot of us.
Guilty.
You mean that's
as
not a weight loss technique?
But if you're only eating potato chips, well, I don't know whether that's a diet, but...
Oops.
You're giving me ideas here.
Yes.
Unhealthy ones.
Lavinia's like,
But they
chocolate
sound
for the
good.
win.
Yeah, chocolate for the win, right?
Ooh, chocolate always for the win.
Always.
Yeah.
So we're going to discuss more about this really great topic, I think, to start off this new year on the right foot, how not to give up on your resolutions in week 2 with our happiness scientists, Sha-En. We're going to jump onto Facebook Live right now. So join us at facebook.com/1FM913.
1FM.
How in setting the New Year's resolution, it's about creating an identity. Okay. So I'm going to check back with you. Okay. Help me apply it. My New Year's resolution is to build more muscle mass. What do you think about this? Is it too vague?
What is the bigger purpose and why do you want to build that muscle mass?
So should I change it to I want to become stronger and fitter? Is that enough though?
Yeah, and what is that linked to?
What does that link to? In what
when
sense?
you become stronger and fitter, what is the outcome? Or maybe there's an image in your mind. What is it that you want to feel? What is it? Who's the kind of person? So which is why we say identity.
Okay.
So a strong and fit person, how does this person feel? Right? A strong and fit person, what is the ultimate goal? Is it about vitality and energy? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
is it about health?
Ooh, we're delving deeper here.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, because when she said what is the identity, the person that you want to be, right?
Yeah.
I want to be an Amazonian, like like Wonder Woman. Is that enough though? No, I need to say that. Huh? Help me. I want to put this exercise into practice.
Well, then you have to ask, what characteristics does an Amazonian woman have?
Ooh.
Like, what is it in there that you really admire or look up to that is pushing and compelling you? Right? Because if you just say, I want to lift weights all the time, then it's okay. Like, some people actually can stick to it that way, but it's because at the back of their mind they know why and where this is leading to.
Right.
Like, I want to lift weights because I want to be stronger. I want to be stronger because I want to be healthier.
Okay.
I want to be healthier because with more health I can do this.
So you're saying get to the nub of it.
Yeah.
Really address why you want to.
Because then that comes from inside, and that is what keeps us going, and that's what keeps it sustainable. Otherwise, it's just an action that you put there, and if you don't relate to it on a deep level, then on days like, I'm tired, I got on the wrong side of bed, I'm not going to do my weights. It's very easy to create excuses away for things that are not strongly tied to our identity.
Okay, so does this work? So I'm thinking about what you've just shared with me. My New Year's resolution is to become fitter and stronger so that I can wear my old clothes back. No, it's not enough.
But then how would that make you feel?
Yeah.
It makes me feel good though. It
Yeah.
would make me feel great. So that I can continue snacking. Does that work?
She's not telling us the full story.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Don't deflect onto me.
Lavinia is like, I want to get out of this coaching session.
Quick, yeah.
On air.
Okay.
I'm enjoying this.
I want to be healthier and stronger for my family. I want to be healthy and stronger. As a mother, I think that's really essential for me to do right by myself and for my kids. Do you think that's enough?
Yeah, I think that's definitely more powerful than what you said earlier, right? Yeah, so it's not just about lifting weights. Yeah, you want to be the kind of person who values herself and her family, right?
You see,
Isn't
now we get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. And if you value yourself,
right?
And of course, that again, we have to be honest. Some people say that part of valuing myself is that I need to have a life, and that means snacking can be part of it. Well, I mean, it's up to you to define. But if valuing yourself can also mean I exercise five times a week, so that the weekends I can let go of it. So we need to be clear on what that valuing means.
And I can see what you mean by like it really requires us to be honest with ourselves as well. Okay.
Yes.
I'm done, Shehzad. We'll take yours in the next time we jump onto Facebook Live. And Brightsiders, if you have any suggestions what our New Year's resolutions should be,
Yes.
go ahead. Let's
free.
give it a go. We need some inspiration, okay? So we're going to jump back and talk more. Actually, we're going to dive really deep into the main topic for today, which is how not to give up on your resolutions in week 2. Has it only been week 2 of the new year? It feels like it's longer. Do you guys feel that way?
It is literally day 1 of week 2.
Okay.
Deep breath, guys. Deep breath.
We can do this. We can do this. So come and join us. Remember, text in your questions, your comments, or onto our Facebook Live, or even to our WhatsApp at 88550-913. Catch you in a bit on 1FM 91.3. That was Pebbles with a girlfriend here on the Brightside. A very, very good morning to you. And I really love this topic that you came out with, Sha-En. How not to give up on your resolutions in week 2. Very quickly, do you have sort of an average sort of like duration as to how long people keep New Year's resolution? Is it 1 week?
1 week, 2 weeks, maybe max 3 weeks.
Really?
So like, gym memberships, everybody buys them right at the end, and then blah, blah, blah. Then the gym is super crowded on the second day of January, and then it dwindles down.
That's when you join.
Until you hit like the Christmas period, and then you're feasting, and you're like, another year is coming. Oh, I need to get back into it. But then your membership's at the end of the 1 year period. And
that is hilarious.
The cycle. Yeah. Tied to all of this, and I mean, we've just analysed Lavi here.
Yeah.
For me, I am the great procrastinator. So I might have all these grand plans, and as my wife will very much attest to, very rarely do I see a lot of these sort of aspirational things. How does one, and I'm sure that procrastination is one of the main enemies of resolutions. what I mean, I know you've addressed procrastination in the past, but very quickly, how do we actually get through procrastination?
Right. I guess it comes back down to why you're procrastinating. And last year when we talked about procrastination, we said it's not a time management issue. It's an emotional management issue. That means there's some so-called unpleasant emotion tied to whatever it is you want to do. And that's what we need to address.
It's the pain. It's the pain. It's the sweat of going through all that weight loss.
Like, so for me, one of the goals for my year is that I do want to become a healthier person. That's my identity. And what that translates to in action, it means that I need to exercise maybe 3 times a week or 4 times, or I want to. But I need to find an exercise that sticks for me. So for example, I absolutely hate running. I've tried a 10K. Like I groaned and moaned through it. I wanted to kill my husband while he was helping me. And I just realized that it's just not my thing. Yeah, and I like cycling. Yeah, so I decided that I would get an indoor bike, like a spin bike, because it burns the most calories, most efficient.
And you can probably do other things while you're...
and then I can, do other things. I can listen to an audiobook while I'm doing it, or I can watch a show, and then I get entertained while doing that.
I'm like you.
And so I have to find something. This is called habit stacking, or pairing things with what you like to do. Yeah, but obviously if you're gobbling down lots of chips while you're cycling, that one, multitasking required lah. But so that's what I've been doing, and I realized it sticks for me because the thought of cycling is already positive, and then pairing that with something that I like to do, whether listening to new knowledge or watching a show, that's even also something I'm actually looking forward to. So now I wake up and I look forward to it, as opposed to like, and then think about putting on the shoe lah, think about going out into the to go for a run. It's like, oh, come on, So
that's a really key point you're bringing across, that we must also enjoy the process, that it's okay if the resolution is something that we can look forward to. Because I think people always feel like resolutions are, they're tough ones.
It's painful.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there needs to be a little bit of challenge. Otherwise, you're probably not going to get the results that you want. Yeah, but we can also moderate the challenge. It doesn't have to be, oh gosh, let's go straight for a marathon, right? Yeah, let's start with 2 kilometers. So I started off with like 15 minutes on the spin bike. And then that felt good. And when that felt good, it's a self-reinforcing cycle, because, motivation works that way. When it's self-reinforcing, it's more likely to repeat and happen again. If you forced yourself to do it, you're going to remember the pain over the pleasure. And then you'll be like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And so you stop.
I like what Dave has said. His message, and he said his revised resolution is to lose 500 grams this year. And
so he's breaking it down.
He says he's taking advice from you. So under promise and over deliver.
Wow, it's a strategy.
It's a form of deluding yourself into making yourself feel better.
Are you being honest with yourself? I think you can do more. We feel that you can do more, Dave. Hey, Dave.
Pat yourself on the back.
But that's funny. Yeah, 500 grams. Yeah, I'm going to relook at mine again. I'm going to build only 500 grams of muscle. That's like what, 1 muscle on 1 finger. I don't know. Okay, we're going to jump back onto our Facebook Live. In fact, our Facebook Live, plenty of comments coming in, so come and join us at facebook.com/1FM913.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here they are.
Hey everyone, a very, very good morning to you. And yes, so with our happiness scientist, Sha-En Yeo. And of course, the topic that she is bringing to us today is such a great one. How not to give up on your New Year's resolution in week 2. Plenty of opinions coming in on our Facebook. We have, first of all, want to say good morning to Daniel, David, Willie as well, and Alun. And Willie says this, my opinion is that we have to celebrate what we have achieved in the past year and then use that to set a more realistic resolution around what you have accomplished. So for example, he says, I lost 5 kg last year, so it will be realistic to lose another 5 to 10 kg this year. That's a very good point. Does that fall under
that gels with the positivity, right? So when you're celebrating the small wins, in this case, it's probably a big win for him as well, right? Then it gives us that fuel.
That's
to
true.
Keep going.
Good point.
Right? As opposed to some people say, oh, I set a goal for 10, I lost only 5. Oh, yeah, forget it. But, I think we also sometimes need to reverse the way and reframe the way we are looking at some of our achievements.
Right.
I think many of us do quite hard on ourselves. When we achieve something, if it's not the thing, then it's like nothing.
It's all or nothing, right? Actually, it's quite true. I think sometimes we just can't take the failure. Yeah, but you know, if it's in terms of weight loss, even if it is 500 grams, right? Like for what's it, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, it's still a loss, right? Of 500 grams. Daniel has pointed this out. He's wondering, is 88% of resolutions about weight loss? I think so. Also linked to building muscle tone. Daniel says, don't set a resolution, then you won't have any chance of giving up.
Yeah, I know of some people who don't believe in resolutions because sometimes they say that setting the resolution makes them feel very pressurized. So I mean, the truth is, if it's making you feel pressurized, again we need to go back to ourselves and ask, is that a goal we want to set for ourselves, or is that what someone else thought it's good for you? You know, so many of us respond to the people around us. We feel pressure when someone says, I want to do this, I want to go and climb a mountain, and then they look at themselves, I just want to sit on my couch, you know.
The peer pressure.
Yeah, and so they start to create this resolution for themselves that actually is not from them. It's created from the pressure. And so it is pressurizing because it's not exactly what you want.
Yeah,
it is what someone else wants for you, or what society is portraying as a good resolution to have.
Could I just flip that as well, Sha-En, and ask, because the vast majority of people fail in their resolutions, do we almost become numb to it, like, I'll just put one out there and I know everyone else is going to screw it up, so it doesn't really bother me if I make a resolution? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're doing that, then what's the message you're sending to yourself? I couldn't care less.
Right.
And so if you couldn't care less, then I guess that's why some people don't bother making it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, well, then I would say, like, by the end of the year, if you feel that you're not achieving anything, then it's about going back and asking yourself, how did you start your year? You know? And I think one of the things that helps resolutions to stick is also like keeping track of it. We all sometimes, of course, we get lost in the busyness, but a simple way to just touch base with it. Right? It doesn't have to be weekly. Maybe after a month you touch base and say, like, you know, this is what I said at the beginning of the year. Well, how am I doing with it? And again, let's be honest, there'll be some things that went well and something that's not. If it didn't, let's not beat ourselves about it, but reflect and say, well, do I really want this? You know, how can I keep on track with it? Right? And there will be times where you let yourself down, for example, or you fell sick and you couldn't do certain things. Again, let's not beat ourselves
not really
up.
Your fault,
right? Yeah. And you know, sometimes when we do that, then it again generates that cycle of negativity, and then you kind of don't want to do it again. So
that
you know, that structure is important as well.
Does it help to have someone to kind of hold you accountable as well, to like keep track?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or is that going to add to the pressure and then it negatively like impacts the whole process?
I mean, accountability always helps. But find a buddy whom you can, you know, you're like-minded.
Who's not a nagger.
Or next you in a way that actually wants you to do it.
So now you cannot be my buddy, is it? Because you will nag me to death. You nag the muscle.
He's having a guilty look on his face.
Definitely a guilty look.
Okay, we're going to head back on air and carry on this great discussion. We'll catch you guys on our Facebook Live in just a bit. But hey, come and join us on 1FM 91.3. You like this song, right?
It's fun.
Yeah, Rick Astley with Together Forever. Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
The main New Year's countdown show in the UK where I was for New Year's Eve, it was a Rick Astley. He was hosting it, right?
He's like Rick Astley.
Yeah, he was hosting it, and he's massive. He's still a big star there.
He can still sing, you know.
Yeah,
and
he put out
like an album. Was it last year?
Oh, was
quite
it?
Recent, quite recent, and it did really well.
He's trending again. Yeah.
Please come back to Singapore. Come back. You used to come quite a bit. Where are you now, Rick? Yes. So speaking of our topic with Sha-En, our happiness scientist, it's how not to give up on our New Year's resolution in week 2. This is really, really crazy. So maybe we don't call it New Year's resolution. Would that help? Just say goal. Just say things I want to do.
My goal for this year.
Because I feel like when you name it a New Year's resolution, a lot of pressure is on. You know what I mean? And then you think about how many days from New Year's Day that you have not done it, then you feel even worse.
Yeah.
And it can either go both ways. Either it motivates you to jump on it, or it motivates you to I kind of left it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I like to go back to that very famous story. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but this teacher walks into the classroom.
Okay.
And then he has an empty jar, and then he's carrying some rocks and sand and gravel with him.
Okay.
And then he asks his students, in which order would you put this in to the jar? And then some of them say, let's put the sand in. And so they have this conversation. And then he says, the rocks are our non-negotiables in life. The big rocks. And so we want to put those into the jar first.
Okay.
So maybe if you don't like the word resolutions, you want to think of this analogy and ask yourself, what are my non-negotiable rocks for the year? Right? And then you use a metaphor that helps you to process, reflect, and get clear on what those are. And then the gravel, the smaller rocks, could be your priorities.
Okay.
Right? They're not the fundamentals, but they're just something that's important to you.
Top of the list. Sort of
Top of the list things. And let's not have more than 2 or 3, because sometimes resolutions fail as well because there are too many.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to do this, and then you look at it, you're like, that's too much. And then you're like, whatever, throw. Right? And then there's the sand, which in the traditional part is all the other things in your life. But for me, I look at it as what fills you up, because the sand is going to fill the jar.
Yeah.
So what are the things in your life that fill you up, that excite you and uplift you, right? And so for me, it's like baking, cooking, traveling, and these are the things that are fun to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you don't do them, then you're like, meh, life is so blah, right?
Yeah.
I think if we look at these 3 pieces in the jar, that's another way of looking at resolutions that isn't just about just one thing.
I prefer this. I prefer the jar.
Yeah, it's a
The
nice
jar.
metaphor.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Life is like a jar.
Yeah. And
It
everything
matters
that's
a lot
going
what
on.
you put in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and it matters what you put into it and how you put it in, which one comes in first.
Yeah.
But I think this is really true, because sometimes we lose sight about, when we're trying to set those New Year resolutions. And like you said, it could be a big stone, like a big pebble. It's non-negotiable, and that's okay as well, right?
Exactly. So if back to health, if health is non-negotiable,
But
then
it should be, you would think, for most people, that health should be non-negotiable.
it should, but again, it's up to you, right? So if someone else does not, that's up to them,
Sure.
right? But if they say it's not, but it actually is, then they're going to get confused and fall off the tracks.
Right.
So again, back to that honesty, right? So you really have to ask yourself. For me, health is definitely one of them. It's not just physical health; it's also emotional and mental health.
Okay.
So what does that translate into actions? It means that I need to be conscious about what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to, right? If I say yes to every request that person asks of me, then I'm not really taking care of my health.
Yeah.
And that's not a priority then, or it's not a rock, because I'm saying yes too often.
And it also, when you use this analogy of the rocks, the pebbles, and the gravel, it also shows you how far you're deviating to what is a priority for you. You know what I mean? Because if you look back, you go like, oh, I treated that thing like a grain of sand when actually it's a big pebble.
It could be.
I need to relook it, right?
Yeah, so I like this metaphor. And then for those of you who are visual like me, I actually went back and I drew it out, and so now it's on my wall. And so when I'm making a decision, I just look back at my jar. And then I ask myself, is this a rock?
Hey,
and it just helps me to streamline. It streamline, I find it powerful.
I like this. And I think I could get my kids on board for it.
Actually,
because
this works with kids. I would think.
Kinesthetic, right?
Yeah.
Look out, kiddos. Mommy's coming back for you. Gonna set
Gonna have a
some
chat
New Year's
this afternoon.
resolution. Okay, we're gonna jump onto our Facebook Live and chat more with Sha-En. Come and join us, okay? Facebook.com/1FM913.
Good times. Greatest hits.
The music I like.
1FM 90.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our Facebook Live. So let's talk about what happens if we did give up. I know it's week 2, but like you said, right? The average New Year's resolution is only held for about a week, 2 weeks. So what happens when we've given up on our resolution? What can we do to get back on?
Yeah, I think one is to look back at it and ask yourself, is this really in alignment with who you are and what you wanted anyway? If it is, and you've fallen off the track, then again, let's not beat ourselves up, but ask ourselves, well, what has gotten in the way? Right. Because if we're not realistic about that, then it's going to be really hard to kind of find a solution otherwise, right? So if you realize that perhaps you wanted to be healthier, but what got in the way was saying yes to a lot of invites right? And we all do that. We want to meet our friends. We go and
Guilty.
then they're like, hey, want to eat char kway teow or not? Then you're like, of course, because you want to see your friend, but then you don't really want the char kway teow because it's not in line, but then you ate it anyway because it feels so short. Like, you know, we all have these dilemma moments.
Or we delude ourselves. We say, no, I didn't want to waste food because it's wrong. It's wrong to waste
correct,
food.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have these beliefs.
It's a big pebble in my jar.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at those beliefs can also be helpful, right? You know, and if I want to meet my friend and want to keep my resolution, then what will it take?
Yeah.
Right.
If they say let's go eat char kway teow, then you know you have to be uncomfortable and say like, hey, I just want to eat a salad.
Yeah.
I know it's like such a downer, right? But then, you know, again, we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to say that for our non-negotiables?
And if we can't, then it's about,
or can we find a place where both of us can have what we want, right? There are places that can do that, for example. So
also, I mean, an extension of that is something like Dry January, which a lot of people do.
That's right. A lot of people want to.
Right?
I think that's great. Dry January is a great thing. Coming off the festive season, you know.
But you know, I won't say I've ever really like forced myself to do that. But I do. I've been in a situation where friends who have, the ones around the friend who is doing Dry January are like, come on, forget about it. Just have a drink. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes we call this, you know, set yourself up for success.
Okay.
So if you already know you're going to an environment where the likelihood of your resolution is going to be broken, then you have to ask yourself, do I really want to go so often, for example? Or it could be like once that week. And then maybe if you do like go off track, it's not as bad as like saying yes all the time. I'm just, you know, saying that we can be conscious about the choices that we make.
Right.
It's not always easy. But if you've fallen off the track, then you want to look back and, you know, just say as realistically as possible, as objectively, nothing personal.
You could say, oh, this is my cheat day.
Yeah, you're right.
But then, you know, that also sets you down another path of, you know, maybe I have a lot of cheat days. Or I offset it and add another day on later on, I guess, in February.
Yeah, I think there are different ways to look at it. But again, I think this points out to that jar analogy that you've given, which, by the way, one of our listeners, Daniel, says he's seen a video on that rocks and jar analogy and is really powerful.
It's a classic. Yeah, but I think classics are worth revisiting.
Yeah, but like you said, it's a priority. Maybe for us, a priority is, you know, to like socialize with our friends. Yeah. But like you said, find that balance, right? Yeah. Okay, we're going to head back on air to wrap this whole great topic up. So come and listen in for those final tips so that you and we can really conquer this brand new year. Come and join us, 1FM 91.3.
P. Diddy there with a classic 1FM 91.3, I'll Be Missing You. And here we are talking to Sha-En, our happiness scientist, on New Year's resolutions or the lack thereof. If you are still into your second week of your New Year's resolution, congratulations, you are probably in the minority. If you're like me, you haven't started yet and you're gonna get there, then maybe this conversation is right for you as well.
Shehzad, I just want to offer myself to you as your buddy, okay? Because I'm even offering you an elliptical machine, right? My first elliptical machine, because I have to get a new one. This one still works. I'm getting a new one because I need to get one that has a higher sort of like a weight bearing, yes, because my husband is more than 100 kg. He's all muscle. As I look away when I say that. No, but sometimes when he jumps on my previous elliptical machine, it kind of groans. So I wanted to get one higher so that it's safe. It's safe for us as we achieve our New Year goals. So, Shehzad, I'm right here for you.
She's helping me. I'm
right here for
resolution.
You. So are you going to set a resolution?
I will resolve to do that, yes. I'm keeping it realistic. Sha-En says keep it realistic. I need time to open the jar. But right now I can't quite open the jar. It's a bit stuck for me.
Lavinia open for you. She's your buddy.
Yes. She's got the muscles.
The muscles!
After doing all the weightlifting, she's got it.
No, now I feel a bit of pressure already. I just want to share a couple of comments from our Brightsiders. Willie actually said on our Facebook, he says, you know, I feel that a lot of us make a lot of resolutions on the eve of New Year. Is that typical? And it's finally, finally I can default all the things that I did not accomplish. Yeah, do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. Yeah.
And already that's approaching the wrong
you kind of reach the end of the year and you look back and the things that you didn't do, we call them regrets, right? It's like, man, I wish I did that. And you're filled with all this guilt, and and then that kind of the guilt drives you into setting the resolutions. Now, whether that's healthy or not, I would argue that if guilt is driving you, then it's probably not the best thing.
Correct.
Because then you're just doing it to avoid the guilt. But it's probably better to kind of just look at it and as I said,
confront rather than just
I mean, it's whatever has happened, but let's relook, because a year has passed. You're probably a different person than when you started the year.
True.
That's true.
And it's, if you want to just follow on from that, it means that it's almost like, I feel bad, let's do it, and then you're going to feel bad again because you're probably not going to do that again, but relook and say, it's a brand new year. Whatever I've not done is whatever's not done, but let's have a fresh start and ask myself, honestly, really, if I wasn't able to achieve that this year, what am I really able to do, and what do I really want for myself this year? And these questions seem very simple, but it does take time to really, go inside. And I think that's what we lack sometimes, the time to actually sit and put aside, to reflect on it.
I think for me, it's more about like, am I truly being honest with myself? And also that takes time to sort of like question yourself.
Self-audit.
Right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look in the mirror and reflect. I feel.
I don't really like to look at myself in the mirror.
Yes,
my relationship, my mirror is very functional. It's very like, because I need to like clean my face and whatever it is. But like other than that, I don't really like to stare at a mirror. Yeah, it's like, it's awkward.
Of course.
I don't know what kind of small conversation I want to make with that image.
I think we're going to have a little session off air after this. With the Sha-En.
Feel free to book a session.
Hey, yes.
All you need to do is give me coffee and chocolate. I'm happy.
Are you kidding? Oh, that's only
Chocolate
for
for the
us,
win,
right?
we said, right?
That's
Chocolate
only for
for the
us.
win. Yeah.
That's only for us. Wait, let's clarify, okay?
And the whole box of chocolate's going to go, I reckon.
Oh no. I think we just destroyed her New Year's resolution if she had any to do with like getting fitter. But hey, if you ever want to find out more from Sha-En, you want to head on over to two things. You can find their Instagram for Happiness Scientist, that's all in one word, or her personal Instagram, which is Sha-En Yeo. Now, are there any final tips on how we can really, really conquer this new year and achieve our New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, I mean, I think break down your goal into smaller pieces so that it doesn't feel so daunting, and try to weave it or embed it into your daily routine that you are going to do anyway.
Okay.
And if you do that, the chances of it succeeding are higher because you're already doing those things. Okay. So I know of people who say that they want to read more books, and as they're going to work on the MRT, they pre-download things from, or they sign into NLB Overdrive and they're reading along the way. So you are already traveling. So maybe instead of playing a game, you could be reading that book, or if you have audio, you can plug it in. Right. So if you blend it with a routine, the chances of succeeding are higher. Right?
A bit like doing the exercise in front of the TV or something.
Yeah, habit stacking, we call it.
That's why I was trying to convince him. I'm like, hey, if you use the elliptical machine, you can watch TV while you're exercising because you're not out there, you're indoors in front of your TV.
You can catch up on your sports news, while you're elliptical, right? Because you see, you need to find something that you love to do. Right?
I by the way, just very quickly, I'm totally like you about just pure running. Even though I've did sport for a long time, I just can't stand doing it on its own. I need to be doing something else to distract me from that. So good idea.
Okay.
And then after that, if you can, add on something to give yourself a pat on the back. Celebrate that small win after you finish your workout.
Chocolate.
I thought that's Levy's one.
Even for me, I'm wondering like maybe I shouldn't do that because can you imagine all the exercise I did and then I just ate it back on, right? I'll have a think about it.
It could be something that you say to yourself. Like, I did this today. It was my own effort.
You could have been eating chocolate, but you exercise. Good job, Lovey.
Self-patting.
Self-patting, it's a thing,
Okay. This has been really, really great. Sha-En, thank you so much for this. You know what? I think I can at least keep my New Year's resolution going for one more week.
The next time Sha-En's in, she's going to check in. I was wanting to, she's going to just ask how we're doing.
I don't know if they can see me on Facebook Live, but there's a look of like
I'm not here that week. Oh,
deep
I'm sorry, Sha-En.
Deep breath. Shehzad. I'll text him separately.
Okay. You know what? I accept the challenge. You can check in 2 weeks' time when you're here.
See, accountability,
and see where I'm gonna go, how I'm going. Wow, pressure. Alrighty, thank you so much for the tips, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More great music, also weather and traffic.
Brightside with Carol, Lavinia, and Shehzad on 1FM 91.3.
1FM
Good time.
91.3. 1FM
Thankfully, a
91.3.
dry start to the day, but there'll be thundery showers over many areas in the afternoon, with temperatures reaching a high of 33 degrees Celsius.